Welcome to Flick Fixers. Today we're talking about Obsession. Now, this is one of two movies, Backrooms being the other, that is doing amazing at the box office. It is putting butts in seats. It put my butt in a seat, and now I want to talk about it. I will say, now look, this film is getting a ton of praise. People in the movie industry, Spielberg, for example, shouting out this movie, saying he saw it and loved it. That's great for these young filmmakers, and I'm really excited we have new talent up and coming. Uh the the problem is, and I hate spoilers, I hate trailers, I hate learning anything about the movie before I go in, because then I start to imagine a movie, and if it doesn't live up to it, or if it doesn't do how I think it should, if it doesn't move the way I think it should, it can have a negative effect on the movie for me. And that's what happened here, I think. I'm going to be one of we have a crew here, and there's some that really love this movie. I went in later. I saw it after a couple weeks. It had already been out, and I couldn't avoid the trailer. I couldn't avoid the spoilers because people talking about it, they're really loving it. People are talking about it on TikTok and YouTube, and I can't click away fast enough before they show me stuff. And so I went in knowing a lot more than I wanted to know. And that, I think, did negatively impact the way I viewed the movie. Look, it's not a terrible film, and there's a lot of good here. I really like the perspective that we're getting in this film. You could have done this film from any of the characters' perspectives, and it would be a completely different movie. But some of them we've seen before. And I think it would have been a mistake to do that. I think we got the right perspective here, and it really does allow for people to learn about themselves, even not just watching the movie and commenting and critiquing the characters' choices, but also your own choice, and also how you view yourself and others around you, and how you treat them. I think there's a lot of good from perspective in this movie. But I I did find the movie concept. Um, I'm trying not to spoil here, but essentially how the movie gets set up, how the circumstances come to be, didn't really love that way. And look, I know there's reasons for it, and the reasons are even effective, but I while you're watching it, look, you can tell a great story, but if and you know, part of the setup, you have to suspend your disbelief, and like I said, normally I'm able to do that, but when I went in there with all these spoilers, it really hurt my ability to allow for certain things to happen for me to just get into the movie. And so I didn't really like the setup on how this all comes to be. And once it does, I didn't agree with the choices that were made for the character who is obsessed, and like why she makes those choices based on the situation that she's in. I know I'm trying to just not say too much, but also get my point across. I just, to me, it didn't quite do what it, like, both the title and uh the reason for the obsession, not possession, apparently obsession, that to me doesn't quite fit. And in fact, it does feel more like a possession movie, even though the director slash writer has said it's not. So Curry Barker, um, he's the one. He's the brains behind this, and there's a lot of good here. But I feel that this is a lot better as a possession movie, and therefore there would be a better way to establish it than what they used. And in fact, I saw a TikTok afterwards talking about a theory about the movie involving a cat, and I think that's brilliant. I think that that should just be canon for this movie. They should just say that that's what happened. There should be a post-credit scene where it says it or something because it makes it better. It actually does. Without it, there's some confusing bits. There's also it's more of an unease movie. It's not really a scary movie. There's some weird parts where you're just like that's weird and you are kind of unsettled. But there's only one really good scare. Um and again, like that's another thing where I had some expectations that I was going to get some good scares here and really just the one. And also like a lot more like weird that was almost comedic, and which is fine. You can have that. The Backrooms has it, this has it. There's almost too much in this movie. And maybe that is the point. Like you're like laughing at this guy who's not a good guy, but you're kind of laughing at him, but almost too much. Like everything is so silly. And so I just found myself a little bit bored, and this movie kind of just falls into like I I wouldn't how do I like I'm trying to be nice. Like there's a lot of good here, but the movie just feels like it could have been on Netflix. Like it could have been a Netflix movie. And maybe there's no difference to people. Maybe like, some movies you see in theaters because of the hype and other movies you watch on Netflix. But you know, like this movie just felt like Backrooms I wanted to see in theaters, and it felt like a theater movie for me. This movie just feels like it's just, a run of the mill psychological horror movie with a better concept, a better perspective for the audience. And I don't know. That just doesn't do it for me.